Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. Today on the channel we are checking out the all-new extra large Harvest Right freeze dryer. Man, it is gigantic. You can feed an army for the apocalypse out of this thing. Let's go and check it out.
Hi folks, Canadian Prepper here. It's a special day on the channel today because we are unboxing the extra large version of the Harvest Right freeze dryer. This is a brand new item, just hit the market. I'm super excited about it. This is the medium freeze dryer. It allows you to preserve any kind of food for 25 years. This is a space age technology, uses vacuum pump, sucks all the moisture out there, preserves the texture and the taste and all that good stuff, and the nutrients, of course, for 25 years. Now we're unboxing the extra large. I tell you, it's looking a lot bigger than the medium, judging by the size of the box. If you order one of these things, just expect to have a friend over or two in order to help you get it set up. But without further ado, let's get to the unboxing. So it comes on a skid, just in case you didn't know. This is not gonna be hand bombed by Canada Post. You can get these from CanadianPreparedness.com. There's no deals on these. We can't do 10% off. The shipping is just too high. But you do get free shipping unless you live in the Maritimes, Yellowknife, if there's anybody left up there, Northwest Territories, and I believe Vancouver Island are some of the places that we can't ship 100% free to. Above and beyond that, if you wanna get one of these, CanadianPreparedness.com. This is the extra large stainless steel version. Now I presume that on top here, this is going to be the vacuum pump. Wowza! Whoa! This is huge. So we got some Mylar bags, we got our oxygen absorbers, our instruction booklets. Take a look at these trays. Holy shit. If you're preparing for the apocalypse, you came to the right place. I knew this was gonna be a big machine. I thought it was just more levels, but look at the size difference in these trays. That's incredible. Same depth. Okay, so we're getting the same amount of depth, but way bigger. So we're gonna be able to freeze dry just incredible amounts of food in one batch. This is one of those prepping luxuries. For most people, rice and beans in Mylar bags is gonna suffice. But I would say a machine like this, you could freeze dry food for a whole community. In fact, you could probably start your own business. Woo! There she be. You might want to keep these component pieces. You never know if you ever have to move this thing. I know a lot of people who've had their freeze dryers for ever since Harvest Right was a thing, almost 2 decades ago. So if you take care of them, they will last. All right, so this is one of the most critical components. This is what creates the vacuum. It sucks all the moisture out. This is an oil-based pump. They have oil-free pumps that I prefer. Apparently this one, you don't have to change the oil nearly as often, okay? You can get the oil-free pump, but you end up paying a little bit more for it. Marcus Brownlee does iPhone unboxings. We do unboxings of things that are actually gonna matter when the shizzy hits the fizzy. I'm not throwing shade on Marcus, he does great reviews, but yeah, Marcus, you better be prepping, man. You can't eat phones in the apocalypse. Yeah, this is actually pretty cool, I must say. It's just a much more finished design. Like, it's got some heavy duty composite polymer polycarbonate casing. Nice big port here to put oil in, I presume. Yeah, that's where you put your oil in. This is the part everybody loves. Look at that. Woo, that's on there good. Doesn't even leave any residue mark, and it's sticky. That's quality, boy. All right, let's open it up. Woo! It's got the nice gasket on there. So this thing comes off, and one of those things where every time you use it, you gotta wipe it down, make sure you get a nice tight seal. I mean, it's much bigger than the medium, but it doesn't do a whole lot of justice until you see it from the side. You see the distance from front to back, right? Compared to this. Like, the amount of food we're gonna be able to freeze dry is just insane. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trays. So we have to pull this out because we have to hook it all up. This is what connects to this. There's a little notch there sticking out. That's all you gotta do. Oh yeah. Did you hear that? It was like, this thing is going to move around a little bit. So it's not the end of the world if it scrapes up the inside of this. So every unit is inspected by a Harvest Right employee. You could see they did the vacuum pressure test, the refrigeration test, the heater test, the electronic test, and the general appearance. So no scratches or dents, all confirmed by Anna. Thank you very much, Anna. You're now a superstar on the Canadian Prepper channel. Oh man, oh, that was a workout. I was able to get this up here myself, but you might want to invite a friend or two or three or four. All right, I'm just lying. It took me and 3 other employees to lift it up there. But that's only because we were trying to do it right. We were trying to be precise and we didn't want to scratch up our cupboard. We even put one of the corrugated pieces of cardboard on the bottom to ensure that it didn't scrape it up. But you can see by the size comparison here, it is absolutely massive. So 7 of these versus 4 of these. If one of these equals probably around 2 of these, bare minimum, it's looking more like 2.5. So you're able to freeze dry 4 times more food in this than you are in the medium. Honestly, for most people, this is gonna be overkill. The medium or the large are gonna be more than sufficient. You can actually fit a lot of food on one of these trays. If you were to go to the grocery store, the amount of food that you're gonna need to fill up 4 trays is gonna be a lot. This is money because we're gonna freeze dry this meat today. We know that Klaus Schwab, he's coming for the cows, he's coming for the chickens, Justin Trudeau, they're all coming for the meat, so we know we're all gonna be eating bugs in the future. So if we go invest in the chicken and the beef right now, freeze dry it in this machine, immediately it's like putting it in a time capsule, and fast forward 20 years, the price of beef and chicken has quadrupled. Bare minimum, it's probably 10x by that point, and you're eating meat that you paid a fraction of the price for 20 years ago, and it tastes just as good. I'm not sure if they advise you to do this, but I usually use like a pipe wrench to make sure that you get a nice tight seal. You want to make sure you have a very tight seal here. That's pretty tight.
That's what she said.
Okay, we're gonna put that right there. Put that in there like that right there. You don't want to strip it either, so just be careful if you are using a pliers or something, that you're not warping this at all or bending and twisting it. You don't need 2 plug-ins because this can actually plug in to here, and then you plug this into your wall. So you only have to plug in one thing, which is very cool. All right, so we're gonna use our Zendur Super Base V. Oh yeah, listen to that. Oh yeah. There we go, Harvest Right. So the screen is the same size. The screen is the same size on this one as it is on that one. So yeah, that's basically the unboxing. All right guys, so I butchered some chickens, cooked them all up, put them in a bowl. That's a lie. This is about $100 worth of chicken. We're gonna make it into $300 worth of chicken by making it last 25 years. You wanna make sure that it's flush with the top, doesn't overextend more than like a centimeter or so, and even that is kind of pushing it. Ideally, you want a little bit of space. You want to give it time to breathe. You know what? I think we're gonna have way more space than I anticipated. We were actually gonna do a batch of veggies, fruit, and meat, which is fine as long as you cook the meat, because you don't want cross-contamination. This is a lot of freaking chicken, man. You did a good job butchering these chickens that I raised myself. All right, so we just do our little check here to make sure nothing is going too high, nothing is exceeding. The thing with this freeze dryer is the actual levels are a bit shorter. I'm not sure if they do that intentionally to force you to make sure that you're not going too far over the top of the tray. All right, so I also butchered a cow just for you guys, just for this video. Grass-fed, on the pasture, right to my plate. Now these chunks are a little big, so I'm gonna try to make sure that I give them a little bit of space to breathe. This is probably a little bit too big than I would like. I think it's gonna work. It might just mean we gotta run the freeze dryer a little bit longer. You don't want any moisture in that Mylar bag. Even just a little bit of moisture left on the meat can cause it to spoil. My first impression of something like this is that this size of a freeze dryer is not going to be needed for most people, unless you're planning on doing massive batches of food. If you are somebody who butchers your own food, who hunts your own food, who grows your own food, this might be the ideal solution. If you're just somebody who wants to freeze dry some stuff on your days off, maybe a smaller version is better for you. This is a great way to make your money back fast, because the value gained just from freeze drying this one batch of food is already going to be in the hundreds of dollars. So after, I would say, 20 batches, this thing is going to pay itself off if you're a hardcore freeze dry food stacker prepper type. All right, let's do strawberries. I think we're probably good with 1 bag per tray. What else do you got for me? Okay, I grew some blueberries, put them in a nice colorful bag that I had manufactured. You're gonna pay 5 to 10 times as much to get this freeze dried. And a lot of that's gonna be shipping. So we got a whole package, 1 kilogram, I'm 750 grams. I don't know how many meals this is gonna be, but it's a lot of calories, it's a lot of nutrients, and it's a lot of protein. We wanna get a nice tight seal on there. So I'm using a microfiber towel, get rid of any dust. Check out the size of that. Wow. Look at that. That's perfection. Now this is all gonna work. We got everything all tightened up. This is open. We want it closed. If this is open, nothing's gonna work. Want that nice and tightly closed. All the water that we've used will pour out, but we're gonna put a bowl underneath this just to be safe. I'm not gonna change any of the settings. I've talked to the people at Harvest Right, and it's been a while since I've used a new machine. They just said the software is up to date. I should just basically have to plug and play. So this is super easy to use. You are gonna need a 110 volt dedicated power circuit for this. That's one of the downsides of a large freeze dryer. It takes a lot more energy. Cooling freeze dry chamber. So wait 15 minutes before loading trays. Oh, we've already loaded the trays. So we already screwed up. Apparently you're supposed to read the instructions. Okay, so the process is complete, but I'm not sure if everything is fully freeze dried, so we may have to run another short cycle after this, but I wanted to show you guys this. I didn't want to leave you hanging here at the end of the video. I wanted to actually show you some results. I must say, with respect to the sound of this thing, this new Harvest Right oil pump is way quieter than previous versions. This thing sounds like a large fridge. It's not a very intrusive sound, like it's a flat, sort of bassy, airy sort of sound. Previous freeze dryers that we've had, can be very loud. They've brought the decibels down a lot since the time that they started these things, and this one it's the best unit I've seen. You could easily contain the sound by putting this behind a few walls, no problem. So, as you can see here, process complete, open drain valve to vent. If needed, select more dry time. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna go around here, but I'm gonna put this here. So all the water, obviously, that we sucked out of this food has to go somewhere. So we're gonna open the dry vent. That's going to release the vacuum tight seal. And now once we hear that sound stop in the back, that it's been fully vented, then we'll be able to open this. You won't be able to open this if there's still a vacuum in there. It'll be impossible to open. So now the pressure has been released. Now we should be able to open it. So let's check it out. All right. So our first tray, as you can see here, this is almost perfectly freeze dried, I would say. So this does not need another cycle. One thing you want to do is make sure you get this into a Mylar bag as soon as possible so it doesn't absorb any moisture. You see I'm wearing gloves. I don't want the oils in my hands or any possible moisture or contamination affecting the food that we're gonna try to preserve for 25 years, right? So those look great. The blueberries look like they might still need a bit of work. They're a little sticky, but that's just the sugar. You wanna make sure that the skin is punctured on the blueberries so all that moisture can escape. So we may have to redo those. Strawberries look like they might need another run as well. They taste pretty good, but I'm gonna have to do a bit more investigation with those. The meat looks great. It's great that meat is so easy to freeze dry. In my personal opinion, one of the things you're gonna wanna primarily freeze dry is meat. That's where you're gonna make your money back. But I'm still seeing a little bit of moisture on here. So that means that we're gonna have to maybe run one more cycle here. Not a full cycle. The chicken looks great. Chicken freeze dries very well. No real complaints about that. I made some mistakes in our initial run of the machine. Didn't turn the vacuum pump on, wondering why the hell this thing wasn't working. Turned it on, so really, I'd say we could probably use another 12 hours of freeze dry time just to be sure here. We wanna make sure that we dial in this first batch 100%. I should emphasize, guys, this machine does require a 110 volt dedicated power outlet. But I would say with the first batch, I'm very impressed with how this looks. You cut it in half. I mean, it just breaks in half, just like good old freeze-dried meat is supposed to. This is gold right here, in my opinion. As you can see, it's gonna instantly start absorbing that moisture. You can see the texture starting to come back already. So here it is, fully hydrated now. Tastes just like a fresh cooked piece of beef. It's amazing. So on our next video, we're gonna show you guys how to package all this stuff. We're gonna do it using what Harvest Right provides. You can also do it on your own, using your own Mylar bags, your own oxygen absorbers, or you can store this in jars, whatever you want to do, but we're gonna do a whole tutorial on that in our next video, so stay tuned. If you want to get one of these, or a small, medium, or large, check out CanadianPreparedness.com. I just want to reiterate that the majority of people are going to be perfectly fine with a medium Harvest Right freeze dryer. Only get this if you're planning on preparing for the proverbial end of days for a very large group of people, okay? Let me know if you have any questions in the comment section below. Thanks for watching. Canadian Prepper out.
The best way to support this channel is to support yourself by gearing up at CanadianPreparedness.com, where you'll find high-quality survival gear at the best prices, no junk, and no gimmicks. Use discount code PREPPINGGEAR for 10% off. Don't forget, the strong survive, but the prepared thrive. Stay safe.